every other black child, many other black child like myself, we started from the church. The church really helped to bring out that talent. So I really started acting, stage acting from the church. Then I got into the University of Lagos. I was in Theatre 15, which was like the flagship theatre club in the university between 1983 and 1997, 98. When we were now there, my generation really moved the bar of acting as far as the University of Lagos was concerned. My generation was the first to take a play out of the University of Lagos to Muson Center in 1998, and we had Professor Wole Soyinka. He came around to watch. That was immediately after the government of General Abacha. So Soyinka came back to the country after a very long time to see our production. And that I must say for young me, this was 98. I was young. I was in my second year in the university. That was fantastic. That was encouraging. It gave us a lot of hope. And the low side of it, stage acting became a little stressful. I think as I was growing up, I started having problems with lines. I don't know what took over my head, and you put in so much, and then you end up getting almost a little. So the TV became attractive, and in 1999, 2000, 2001, myself and a group of friends started, venturing into TV. We started with Twilight Zone, and then Twilight Zone. After that, we had Flatmates. There's a new Flatmates now. Then on to we started having series with Footprints, In-Laws, Half Sisters. So I did many of these things, and the money part wasn't really encouraging. So I think that was one of the things that really made people leave some of these things. So far in my life, I go everywhere. Actually, I found myself over the last few years, especially, I cannot go out without a camera. So a lot of emotions, a lot of things I find on the streets, a lot of things people call distressing are, some of the pictures I didn't even know I take. And I look back at the pictures and they just, you feel that sadness. Well, one picture, before I left Nigeria in 2014, I relocated to Oman. 2 days before my trip, I went to see my dad and mom. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm leaving the country. And my dad was excited and my mom was excited. And I remember we posed for a picture. My dad to my right and my mom to my left. And something in my mind, I don't know why, said, what if this is the last time you're seeing these people? Of course, you dismiss things like that. And guess what? That was the last picture I took with my dad. Up till this moment, I find it difficult to look into his eyes in that picture. It just makes me sad, looking into it. I still cannot. A lot of times when I go through photos because of my blog, I pick out pictures and then I just pass. Whether we like it or not, photography has come to stay. I mean, we have it everywhere now. But there are still pictures that stand out. There are still pictures that put us in trouble. There are just regular parties you go to and you tag a friend and his wife sees it. And this friend actually promised his wife he was going to a night vigil last night, only to be drinking champagne with you. So there are times photography puts you in trouble. I can put it that way. Photography, it takes a lot of emotion. There's the positive emotion and there's the negative emotion. I mean, look at the story of is it Kevin Carter, the South African photographer who did that iconic sad photo of a child, a malnourished child, almost dying, and then with a huge vulture hanging behind to wait for this child to die. That was an award-winning shot. That was huge. I mean, they fetched him the Pulitzer Prize for photography, I think in 1987, 88. And guess what happened? the world criticized the photographer. Even up till today, people who don't understand the story still blame this poor photographer. And all he did was just to take a picture that touched the world. It was in Sudan. There was this famine in Sudan, a malnourished child with flies all over, dying with a. This child, actually, the main story behind it is that the child finally survived, walked up to the camp. He was just tired at that point. But Kevin Carter never recovered from it. He ended up committing suicide, even after winning the Oscars of photography. So sometimes pictures evoke so much emotion. This is why it remains powerful. Okay, I remember sometime in 2008, I was in Mumbai, just sitting by the shore, and there was this really, I didn't really understand a lot about cross dressers. So, but there was this strange looking woman with another strange looking woman standing right behind me and clapping. 10 rupees. 10 rupees. And honestly, I was really scared. I was really, really scared. Because this person saw that, okay, this person is obviously a tourist. And what I heard was just 10 rupees. And I stood up and said, what do you want? Honestly, I was really scared because I thought I was going to be stabbed on the beach on that day in Mumbai. So that stands out a lot. Not encouraging. I mean, it's a little disappointing. But this is where we find ourselves. And we will not sit and be bemoaning our fate. And this is one of the reasons why we are doing this. When you talk about Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, the first thing that comes to people's mind is Boko Haram. So I always find myself desensitizing people outside of Nigeria that, we are not all that internet, the Nigerian prince, all those letters you see, we are not all that. I start from population. We are pushing 180 million. It's a country with many people, meaning many crazy people, many intelligent people, many loving people, many criminals, and many upright people. So it's Nigeria is a potpourri of all of that. So if you just look at us and then you think of insecurity only, I think I know some places that are far insecure than Nigeria. But as it is right now, and what allfirm.org is trying to do is bringing the world to Nigeria and Nigeria to the world. And this is why we are having the photo exhibition where it's not just all virtual. Now you can touch. Now you can be a part of it. Now you can see and you can experience some of these things I saw. Okay, the world is out there. They don't know anything about us. Okay, let us take Nigeria to the world. So that is how I view tourism right now. Good thing you can now go to Bauchi. For some years, you couldn't go to Bauchi because of this threat. So things are beginning to change a bit. So I think, in my opinion, I think what tourism needs here is to be revamped. It has gone through dereliction, like many other things that oil has taken away from us. We became the oil producing giant, and we ended up leaving many other things to die. When you go to countries like Turkey, you would see, in spite of how we have bombings every other day in different parts of Turkey, you would think nobody would go to Turkey anymore. But people still go to Turkey. As of 2013, 2014, it was the sixth most visited country in the world. And people still go there. But I mean, every other day you hear bombing in Izmir, you hear bombing in Antalya, you hear bombing in Istanbul and Ankara. So what are we not doing right? We have the perfect weather for it. Yeah, Lagos could be a little humid, but Lagos is not the only part in Nigeria. Bauchi is beautiful, plateau is beautiful. The rock formation in all these places are just unimaginable. So what we need to do, which is what we are doing with this exhibition, is showing the world and then probably generate interest, and then they can come. Scuba diving is is big. Personally, for me, I take it personal because I've always wanted to do this. I've always watched National Geographic, Discovery Channel, and you see people going underwater, all the species, marine life generally. These are things I've always wanted to do. And I've been in Lagos for almost all my life, surrounded by water here and there. But I discovered those who know a little more than the regular Lagos person about the marine life are the fishermen. But the fishermen only operate on the surface. They don't go down under. Yeah, we've got great swimmers, but again, we don't understand. We don't know what lies beneath the ocean right in front of us. So after diving in parts of the world, I got my certification in Turkey in 2013, and then on to, I mean, in the Mediterranean at the south of Turkey, and then on to the Red Sea. So that was where we did the cleaning. It was just one of one on a normal Saturday. This group of guys came around and gave us bags, and then we went in, diving, and picking up stuff. You'll be surprised at even how dirty some of the pristine, holiday destinations we call, how dirty they are. So I'm thinking of how can we do that here? We don't even understand. We have Nigeria, the south of Nigeria, we have 800 kilometers of the shoreline. The Gulf of Guinea is just humongous, but we don't know what lies beneath. So this is the intention. Clean our environment. We throw a lot of plastic and stuff into it. Bring them out. Take care of our environment. So this is what is really driving me as a Lagos boy. Well, we have a lot of shipwrecks here. I don't know what the regulatory bodies are doing, but it looks like some ship owners just scuttle their boats on our shoreline. You could just bring your dead boat and then scuttle the thing and sink it down there. Well, it gives us good dives because the Gulf of Guinea is mainly sandy. You don't have a lot of corals and it's just sand. So we have lots of shipwrecks. But shipwrecks, when it gets too much, it's an environmental disaster. It's something we have to look out for and it's something we have to regulate. So these are the things we are trying to do and to protect the marine life. You just don't eat everything. We eat almost everything that comes out of that place, and that's not so safe. We have to protect and help science. In return, it helps us. Recreational scuba diving is something that is new. And the foreign exchange rate and all of that right now is not really making it easy. Most of the divers we have aren't Nigerians, so we are trying to, the first step, understand your environment, not just the terrestrial. Let's understand the seas too, and not just the surface of it, and not just about killing fish and destroying marine life. It's about now going down, being a part of it, protecting it. And so far, we don't have anybody on board yet. This is a very, very new idea. And as time goes on, with the dives we are scheduling to have around this part, we should be able to hopefully have corporate organizations and Lagos state government come on board. First, you don't need an expensive camera to take great photos because that's always the fear. That's always the thing. I mean, it's just like people not wanting to work out. And when you ask them why you're not working out, the next thing you hear is that I don't have running shoes. So that's how it is with cameras. What I would advise anybody, because the good thing about it now is that we are all photographers now. You don't need some certification from some organization to be a top photographer. All you need is the passion, observation. What we photographers do is pay attention to the thing many others do not pay attention to. And also, the award-winning shots are always not the favorite. So if your aim is to be the celebrated photographer, you may be a little disappointed because there are many far better photographers out there. But the thing is, do your thing. Pursue your passion. Keep taking pictures. Just keep taking pictures. That is the advice. Keep taking pictures. Document life.